I just want to do a quickie comment here. Thomas Littleton is an evangelist slash pastor who's on my friend list with Facebook, and we agree with some of what both of us say. Okay, we don't agree on everything. Thomas, I think, is a pretty good guy, has a good heart for the Lord and all this, that, and the other. So he's really on the, for lack of a better term, attack about what's going on in evangelicalism, Together for the Gospel, the Gospel Coalition, and their pushing of the, what is it, the LGBTQEF.
Numbers, X,
Yeah,
Y, Z,
I can't keep up with what all it understands. And then you might have heard a conversation we had when we had live about Josh Harris. And to tell you the truth, so much is happening and trending that reiterates and enforces what we've been saying for 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Usually 10 years?
That I can't even come up with it, or keep up with it, okay? So the whole Josh Harris thing, which is pretty mind-blowing, I haven't even had time to even write on it or comment on it. But Thomas posted this morning, and here's what Thomas says, and this is very, and John may want to comment on this further. Out of the blue, TGC interview article attempts to sound orthodox on LGBT after over a decade of pushing the false narrative. Mark Yarnhouse, and I don't even know who that is. Orientation Revoice. What do you think? So scroll down a little bit. The article that Thomas is referring to is From Gay to Gospel, the fascinating story of Becket Cook. So Thomas Littleton is like, what do you make out of this flip-flopping back and forth? One day they're orthodox on the subject, and the next day they're not. I would contend that that's not really the issue going on here. I think that if you got Al Mohler aside, he would say he would have a gospel view on one and then a separate gospel view for the other. But anyway, this Claudia Emerson comments, and I'll go ahead and use her name and put it up here because it was a public discourse, right? She says, I think it's because they are basically opportunists and will hitch their wagon to anyone or anything that brings them attention. Also, it brings a fluid type of theology, totally lacking in sound doctrine and biblical principles. So they can sway back and forth as they find it convenient to please the masses and maintain popularity. Just my thoughts, it's shameless, whatever SMH stands for.
Shaking my head.
Yeah, 4 likes, okay, and then if you go down, keep going down a little bit, Thomas said, well said, thanks, okay, go back up. Now here's what I'm trying to encourage everybody to do, okay. Her statement's a good statement, okay, but it doesn't ask the question, why? Yeah, obviously that's what they're doing, but why? And the reason part of the reason I want to talk about this in lieu of introducing John is because I find myself going back continually, almost once a week, to the very first conference we had in 2012.
Yeah.
Okay? I constantly find, and one of these days we'll redo that conference, which I've been pushing for 3 days or 3 years. And one of these days, we're going to redo that conference and add Andy in there. Maybe even lie and say he was there in 2012. Who knows? Okay, so here's what I say. the point I want to make up. I said, right, because institutions must have money to survive, and the money comes from culture, okay? This is why they long for the good old days when orthodoxy was enforced by the state, so that we can be orthodox. See, if you get Al Mohler and all of these guys in their cigar smoke filled room, okay, they'll tell you, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do, you know. Some gospels, but you know, we've gotta survive. And if it wasn't for that damn Americanism, we could be orthodox. Okay, in my book, this is what's going on. Okay, so, and then I add to that, any institution, unless advocated by the law, must eventually capitulate to culture. It has to. It's where the money comes from. Okay? Now, I understand why many people are not ready to swallow our positions on things. I'm happy for the people that we do have that follow the conference, which if you consider what we're teaching and what our positions in, I'm shocked and dismayed and thankful that as many people participate in our ministry as they do. Okay, I find the amount, though, you know, John Piper would shriek and run away in sheer terror over the smallity of the number. Okay, I think, you know, I'm happy with it. Okay, so anyway, here's what she says. Yes, institution is a good word. I usually use organization. We'll stop right there. Nothing's wrong with organization. Families should be organized, right? Okay? God's ecclesia is an organization. It is organized. So institution and organization, not the same thing. Definitely distinct and separate from the church, which is neither. Which bows to nobody or nothing, but our Almighty God will never capitulate to culture. Okay? So it's the old, our church isn't an institution, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
It's never us.
Right.
We're the good guys.
Our church isn't an institution, but listen, your church is an institution by virtue of the fact that it's a church.
Yeah.
Church and institution is like, you know, duck, bill, web feet, okay? It's an institution, okay? And that happened in like the 4th century. So I thought this was an interesting discourse, okay? We touched on this in a little bit in one of Andy's session, in which I think you were surprised to find out that the SBC is in league with the UN.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me at all, because Protestantism was created in a church state and for the express purpose of a church state. And in the same way you're driving down the road and seeing a duck waddle down the road, you can be certain the duck is waddling towards a body of water. And that's where the church has to go as well in order to survive. With that, John, thanks so much for coming, and I'll turn this over to you.